In Pokémon Sword and Shield, we were told that the Galarian Legendary Birds aren't actually Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, but that they are an entirely unrelated species that just happens to share a name. But that explanation really isn't good enough. And more importantly, it's missing the how. How did three completely different birds end up mimicking the most famous aerial trio in history, down to their very silhouettes? Today, we're looking at a theory that suggests these birds are biological echoes. They are physical projections born from the Dyna Tree, permanent mini Gigantamax forms that were sculpted by the unique blue-tinted power of an ancient king. These are sovereign substitutes. To fully understand this theory, we need to take a look at the Dyna Tree. It's the only place in Galar where max particles congregate naturally in such high density without a power spot. Usually, Dynamaxing requires a wishing star and only lasts for 3 turns. It's a temporary projection of a Pokemon's internal energy. But the theory posits that centuries ago, the original Kanto Legendary Birds, the true Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, nested in that very Dyna Tree during their travels across the world. The tree, a massive biological remnant, recorded their legendary essences. When ordinary bird Pokemon nested in that same tree later, the sheer saturation of max particles didn't just change them. It printed the recorded essences of the Kanto legends onto them. It created a permanent mini Gigantamax state. These birds aren't regional variants because they aren't related by blood. They're living illusions, coded with the Gigantamax projections that eventually became physical through the tree's concentrated energy. As you know by now, the legendary birds tend to have a unique draw towards powerful psychic-type legendary Pokemon as their leader. And that's exactly the second factor at play. At the time these projections were forming, the Crown Tundra was ruled by Calyrex. We know Calyrex's Dynamax power is different from the red-tinted Dynamax energy we see in the rest of Galar. His energy is blue, a signal of higher psychic control and sovereignty. As the Dyna Tree began manifesting these physical echoes of the Kanto birds, Calyrex's blue King's Bellow intercepted the process. He didn't need elemental guardians of the sea or of the sky. He needed a royal court to help him rule the Crown Tundra. He used his unique psychic frequency to retype the projections, shifting them away from their original types and towards the 3 pillars of his medieval kingdom. Calyrex's Dynamax energy forcefully shifted the trio into a medieval type triangle, locked in by Calyrex's blue aura. The essence of Zapdos was grounded. Its lightning was converted into physical stamina and peak martial prowess. It would serve as the King's Knight, a relentless, earthbound warrior designed to patrol the borders of the Crown Tundra. The essence of Articuno was infused with Calyrex's own mental frequency, its ice slowly turning into a cold, calculated intellect. It became the King's Mage, using hypnotic foresight and telekinesis to maintain order and advise the throne. The essence of Moltres had its warmth inverted. It became a malevolent aura of pure intimidation. It would serve as the King's assassin, the shadow enforcer that kept the peace through fear. Even though, over eras, Calyrex's power eventually would fade, the mini Gigantamax states would remain due to the concentration of Dynamax energy from the Dyna Tree. These birds became mobile Dynamax batteries, carrying the tree's recorded essence and Calyrex's medieval essence wherever they flew. They became so famous in Galar that the world eventually identified them as Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, even though the true Pokémon underneath the mask have no biological link to the originals. They are physical ghosts of a medieval kingdom, ordinary bird Pokémon, coded in the power of the Kanto legendary trio, only to be hijacked by a king's ambition and turned into his eternal servants.